Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Views and News and I'm Faisal Rehman, live from our Islamabad studios. Today we'll be talking about this very indecent move by the Indians, and that is regarding the maps of the northern part of India. Now what they have done is that they have included the Indian occupied not only Kashmir, not only Jammu but also Ladakh as their part. And if you look at the new map, you will be surprised and you will also laugh about it. But interestingly, this is what they have done. And the government of Pakistan, the spokesperson of the Foreign Office, Dr. Faisal, has very categorically mentioned that Pakistan has rejected this political gimmick of the Indians, primarily about the changing of the map and the area, the mapping primarily I'm talking about. And he said that the political maps of India issued by the Indian Home Ministry on the 2nd of November. That was the day before yesterday. I'm talking about the 2nd of November 2019. Said displaying Jammu and Kashmir region and seeking to place parts of Gilgit-Baltistan as Azad Jammu Kashmir within the territorial jurisdiction of India. Now you're talking about Gilgit-Baltistan as well as AJK, Azad Jammu and Kashmir. They've also shown that area as their part. Now, this is something which we all need to think about and talk about. But before I introduce you to our panelists, we have prepared a report. Let's watch it and then we'll start.
In a bid to further tighten grip on occupied Kashmir, India made Kashmir and Ladakh Union territories. The Indian Ministry of Home Affairs issued a notification detailing the boundaries of the so-called Union territories of Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and also issued new political map of India. The new map now shows areas under AJK inside Ladakh and not in Jammu and Kashmir as depicted earlier. Foreign Office spokesperson Dr. Mohammad Faisal in a statement said that the political map of India are incorrect and complete violation of the relevant United Nations Security Council resolution. Pakistan rejects these political maps which are incompatible with the United Nations maps. Dr. Faisal also added that Pakistan would continue supporting the legitimate struggle of the people of India held Jammu and Kashmir for exercising their rights to self-determination in accordance with the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. India continues to brutally violate human rights in Kashmir. It has almost been 3 months since the curfew was imposed. Life remains to be a standstill with Kashmiris practically living in world's largest jail. In wake of such actions, the world needs to pay heed to situation in Kashmir that continues to deteriorate with every passing day.
I'm sure within this report they've mentioned a lot. But let me introduce you to our panelists first. We have with us in our studio on my right is Dr. Asma Khwaja Saiba. Ma'am is a foreign affairs expert. Thank you very much, ma'am. And we have with us AVM retired Ikramullah Bhatti Sahab, who's a senior analyst. Sir, thank you very much. And we also have with us Ambassador Arslan Sahab, who's a senior diplomat. Sir, thank you very much. Now I'm looking at what the Indians have done. The government of Pakistan, especially the Foreign Office spokesperson, was very categorical. He said this is incorrect, legally untenable, void and incomplete, and it's a violation of the Charter of the United Nations. Now let's start from there, ma'am. What exactly is India up to? Are they in a hurry or something? I mean, look at the current situation in Kashmir. It's the 92nd consecutive day that the curfew has been imposed there. Life is a misery. And now, people are practically, they're held hostage within their own houses. Look at the number of military they have actually stationed there. The number is around 1 million now. And on top of that, ma'am, now they claim that this is theirs.
Yeah. See, at the first place, including Indian occupied Kashmir in India, the political map of India is also incorrect. It is incorrect as it is as much as including Pakistan administered Kashmir in Indian map. So, first of all, if India wants to commit such act which is illegitimate, they can ask UNO, they can ask the Security Council, where they have already approached several times in the history to legitimize their illegal acts. So they can ask them if they can include those areas in the political mapping of India, or international community can consult that how UNO, the largest, so-called most effective international body to regularize international relations and foreign affairs, what UNO thinks of the political mapping of each and every country, especially here in South Asia. So, India, it seems that India wants to register that they don't care about what international community is, how international community is perceiving all this.
And by the way, if I may ask you
Yeah.
the same question which you just said, how are they perceiving it, ma'am?
See, we can see that the British Prime Minister also, though in a very mild tone, but they criticized Indian action and they said it is not the solution. Recently, Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, she visited India and she said it
primarily
is
spoke
not.
about the overall humanitarian conditions
But
about those
even
issues.
then it means that international community dislikes the Indian modus operandi to keep Kashmir under their colonial rule. The way in US Congress, they invited different Kashmiris from different religions, and the way they also criticized the Indian policies of atrocities and subjugation and non-democratic policies of colonization of Kashmir. So it is there in US Congress testimonies when they criticized Indian policies. So although that criticism cannot is unable to deter India from moving towards more brutality and to learn from their mistakes and try to solve Kashmir amicably like a disputed territory while involving all actors of the conflict. That criticism is unable to deter India yet. But yes, that criticism is a light of hope, is a ray of hope that maybe international community is considering it as a problem, because before
I'll just get back to that.
all these
Yeah.
actions by the Modi fascist regime, international community was even unable to register the fact that this is
All right, ma'am.
brutality
But
and
instead of
illegitimate.
doing something in haste, I mean, look at the timing. Almost
It
3
is-
months, and they've just came up with this idea that this is also a part of India. Tomorrow we might also issue another map, sir, claiming
Yes.
Kashmir, claiming Khalistan, claiming
Why
couple of
not?
other Indian territories till UP maybe, and it's okay. This is the Pakistan. What I'm saying is, sir, what exactly have they achieved by sort of committing such an interesting act, sir?
Well, you see, our viewers would recall that I think about 3-4 weeks ago, Amit Shah had mentioned that after having abrogated Article 370 and 35A, now that they have annexed the Indian Kashmir and absorbed it into the Indian Union, they are now eyeing the Pakistani held Kashmir. I think that was a precursor to what we witnessed today, and which clearly explains their ambitions, and we should not ignore their ambition of Akhand Bharat, in which they're eyeing even Afghanistan, entire Pakistan, even Bangladesh, Sri Lanka to be part of the Great Bharat or Mahabharat or Akhand Bharat. And this is what Hindutva is all about. So, and this is just probably the step one in what they are dreaming of. But the fact is that, as we just discussed,
Do you think it shows their intention in the long run, sir?
well, you see,
What sort of a message is that for us? Let's put it this way.
You see, when we look at it, where is it coming from? It's coming from RSS. And RSS is purely a Hindu-based, religious, fanatic, militant organization which believes Hindustan or India to be for Hindus only, and everyone else should either become Hindus or they should leave. And of course, they go back and quote history where once all these territories for a very short time were part of the Indian Empire at that time. So they want to revive that. So that is what is their ambition, and that is how they probably.
Is that the reason they are demolishing the mosques and all?
Certainly,
Just to
certainly, and they want to create that hysteria amongst the Hindus and maybe galvanize them, unite them, and become more popular, and of course take control of the entire country and feel happy about it, that we are a very strong country and that we are united and we are pure and we come from that race, and that I think is to them politically correct and politically more acceptable to their people, and hence they have a much bigger vote bank, and hence now that we have seen that BJP has come with a much larger majority than it came last time. So unfortunately this narrative is becoming popular, whereas for once we in Pakistan thought probably BJP is using this only as a as a strategy to gain votes only, and that after it has the elections are over, and if it did come into power, it probably will sideline it and be more sensible within the country and with the neighbors and the region. But unfortunately now we see that that strategy is continuing, and it was not just for the elections only.
And it's pretty effective for that government also, sir. It's working well.
Well, you see, the fact is that when you alienate your minorities in a very militant manner and make them pushed against the wall, then there is going to be a reaction. And already we have so many secessionist and independence movements. The other day we witnessed a government of Manipur coming into existence in UK. So and if Indian government or the BJP continues its narrative of this nature, I think it is going to give instigate all these people, encourage them to pursue their own designs and their own movements which are already going on. I mean, they are going to gain momentum, they are going to gain force, and it's going to show up within India.
But the point is that say, issues regarding Manipur or the extreme eastern side of India, whether it's Assam or Bihar or Nagaland for that matter, or other areas, or maybe Khalistan, there's going to be a referendum held there as well, or you talk about the extreme southern part of India, they have their own issues as well. And when you look at the northern part, obviously Kashmir is the primary issue now. But Ambassador Saab, now this kind of a move, obviously, it is being observed, obviously, whenever there are ambassadors in any country or high commissioners for that matter, they send a weekly report back about all the weekly activities and then sum it up. And then obviously, so this kind of move by the Indians must have been observed by them, and they must have written some sort of a report. But sir, we haven't heard much either in the international media or in the international community regarding this particular issue, sir. I mean, trying to annex as much as they want. I mean, it's a piece of land. Pakistan is a sovereign country. It's not just a piece of paper we can just keep on drawing or something. We are the only ones so far, sir, because it's directly hurting us, is something which is primarily we just can't even let the Indians think about. But they've done it. So.
Yes, first, the map. This is not the first time that India has shown Kashmir as part of India, but that was the Indian occupied Kashmir. There were in the past, and Pakistan had made protests and taken the issue, and some countries had shown that, and then eventually they had to withdraw such maps. But this time they have gone a step beyond, and they have, as you know, also shown the whole of Kashmir as part of India. Why so? When these two articles of the Constitution was set aside by Modi government, he got some applaud within the country for solving the Kashmir problem, so to speak. But the reality is, and as it is being criticized as well within India, that this has served to highlight the international status of Kashmir, because the UN Secretary General openly came out and said it's a disputed territory. It had you have United Nations Security Council resolutions to that effect. And by merely drawing a map, it does not take away the reality on the ground that it's a disputed territory, nor does it prejudice the right of the inalienable right of the Kashmiri people for self-determination. So now the thing is that Modi had come up in the second election with a greater majority, but it was based on anti-Muslim, Pakistan bashing, and anti-Kashmir. And now that Kashmir, they had made a part of the Union of India, people were beginning to start looking at the internal economic situation. We have seen what is happening internally. The GDP is going down. Thousands of cars are parked in auto industries. Businesses are closing down. 3 airlines have gone bankrupt. More and more farmers are committing suicide. So it is necessary for him to be able to keep projecting the fact that to divert the attention. Look, we promised that we will solve the Kashmir problem, part of a manifesto. And then, of course, there was a statement after that that we have a claim for the whole of Kashmir.
Including GB.
Yes, a BJP claim. So this was what I will say is the Marshall mentioned that was he's dreaming or something. I'll say
but sir, my point is, see now, you know, I think this is an important question and I would like all three of you to comment on this. So now, how history is distorted. Either you write books from a very different perspective, sir, and those books would eventually make an impression, or articles, or media, or through documentaries, or through reports, because you need to refer to something in order to understand what history is all about. But sir, we have seen that, you know, whether you talk about Second World War, I mean, it's the American perspective, it's the British perspective. I haven't seen many movies from the German perspective, for that matter, or the Japanese perspective, or the Italian perspective. But the whole world knows, okay, axis of evil, Hitler was a bad man, right, sir? But it was not Hitler who bombed Japan. There were 2 nuclear blasts, right? So who has used the weapons of mass destruction? Nobody talks about that. Nobody ever makes a big movie about that, like Titanic or something. My point is, sir, when people would start looking at the globe, in the international arena, for that matter, you know, my son is very much interested in geography. He knows, and he would, you know, sometimes, you know, play with me, like, okay, which country, let's say Chad, is it in Africa? So that's how kids make up their mind. Looking at that portion, whatever, because this is how I used to, I can close my eyes, I can recall it, sir, that it used to be painted in 2 colors, the Indian and the Pakistani color in Kashmir. We used to claim that and they used to claim that, but you know, we always recognize that as a disputed territory. Great. But after about 40 years or so, when my child is going to go to school and look at that, it is going to be a different ballgame. Though the status hasn't changed, he won't understand about Article 370 or something. But in their mind, this is going to be something in their subconscious also, ma'am.
Yeah,
and this is the move they have actually taken.
For quite a long time, India is including whole Kashmir as their, in their political
Talk about
map.
ours.
Yeah, because practically, legally, nothing, no, Kashmir overall is a disputed territory. It is not ours, it is not theirs. Kashmiris will decide through right of self-determination what they want, what future they want for their territory. So India is already doing and claiming it as their part, and Pakistan always objected it on international forums that it is a disputed territory, so it should be marked as disputed territory. And as far as Pakistan's response is concerned, why don't we create a new map and we include whole Kashmir, Jammu, Ladakh as part of Pakistan? If this gives anyone's claim a legitimacy over a certain piece of land, why can't Pakistan do
Now
the
they
same?
will sell it to various publishers, And what if it becomes
You are right,
a part?
you are right.
You know, that is what my point
More
is,
than
ma'am.
publisher, they would
Even on the
circulate it
internet,
on
I mean, if you
social
want to
media,
Google
yeah.
something, you just Google it.
Exactly.
And there people are sitting in Google,
Yeah.
they're sitting in Facebook, everywhere.
Their people. And this reminds me of a book by Henry Kissinger. He wrote a book like, Does America Has a Foreign Policy? So when we see Modi's policy and we see the gap between his false election promises and the ground realities in India, like my worthy colleague said, that Indian economy is sinking and is really showing bad and worse indicators. So for me, the more this gap would be widened, the Modi would adopt more aggressive posturing against
Their economy,
Pakistan.
is it as bad as ours?
See, worse, because they are
6.9% is the GDP growth they have projected for
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Ours is going to remain around 2.2 to 2.4%.
Yeah. But see, our economy is
Small economy
is
with this kind of a
small
growth and the big economy
and-
with the bigger
and it is
margin as
getting
well.
better. But Indian economy is sinking because of Modi's policies. So one day when they will realize what they have done with the economy and see if a country strategically, security-wise is involved in so many conflicts with the neighboring states, that country is not a secure country for investment as well. So Modi's aggressive posturing can serve
But ma'am, when
its
people would
electoral
read a story
policies.
that the Saudi crown prince is going to invest around $100 billion there,
I
don't you think that is going to actually
so.
dilute that narrative that
No.
that no foreign investors going there?
Economy needs a proper, flawless or better policy. In mere investment by one country or another.
I'm just giving you an example.
cannot do the
$100 billion
magic.
from
But
one country.
They should have such policy which can use it in optimum way. The what investment is coming.
And
But
your
this
brotherly
is what
country and the
he'll
crown
lack.
prince called him his elder
Yeah,
brother.
but we
You know what
should
I'm saying
not.
is, I mean, ma'am, don't you think this is
But we should
high
not
time for our
forget
government,
the Nobel,
for people,
Nobel
for everybody
Prize.
to be more realistic?
Yeah, but see, recently the Bengali American who won the Nobel Prize for economics, he stated in his interview that Indian economy is on a nosedive, it is on tailspin. This is exactly what he said. So I'm sure he knows that who is investing what in Indian economy. But as I said, that the policy to optimum utilization of that investment, this is what is lacking there. And that is why Modi is so much focusing on non-issues to gain public support and to instigate this false fascist nationalism so that it can serve them in the next election. Recently, as you know, that one of the governors appointed in Indian occupied Kashmir is the governor who was governor of
In
Gujarat at the time
during
of
his
massacre.
time, yeah, when the killing took place. So he's going to
this
appoint
shows-
all his close men,
Yeah,
whom he
and
trusts,
this- no.
and the kind of governance he wants, and he
this
knows they can
shows-
deliver.
This shows.
You always talk about
yeah.
Shahbaz Sharif in Punjab.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you an example that he is a great administrator.
Yeah.
So whether he is from PMLN or any other party, but that man has that charisma. So if he believes in
that
person, I mean, who
the
can
Gujarat,
deliver, maybe-
Gujarat govern under the nose of the Gujarat's governor. The
This is what our
genocide
claim
of
is, ma'am.
Muslims
This is our claim.
happened.
But the point is that now looking at from a different perspective, sir. Again, when we talk about the Indian media, obviously they have a very strong approach towards Pakistan, sir. I was listening to one of their programs on social media, and this anchor for at least 3-4 times, I mean, used this word that this was our sovereign right for a very long time, sovereign right. And we took so long, and he was actually annoyed at his government that they took almost 72 years to realize that this is also our part. This should have been done much earlier. But this is the approach, and this is what everybody is talking about out there, sir. Nobody is saying, oh, it's about the rights or the human rights or anything. I mean, he has created that feeling, primarily in the youth, sir.
Well, you see, India is a large country, they have a large economy, they claim to be the largest democracy in the world, a secular state, shining India, growth rate 8%. But now we know that all that was a hoax, all that was fictitious, cooked up. The growth rate was around 5 or 5.5, and now it is down to maybe 3 or maybe less. And right now they are having probably the highest ever unemployment rate, the lowest industrial growth, and there are so many other serious issues. And the Indian economy is actually performing very, very poorly, and the prospects are even poorer. So, with that, if we have such a rhetoric that we like to annex the Pakistani Kashmir as well, and the way they want to treat the minorities. In fact, he is just trying to promote militant religious mindset and hoping that this is going to probably divert the attention of their own people, and he'll create a false sense of well-being amongst them and become popular. And I think the reference of our Prime Minister in his UNGS speech to the Nazi fascism and comparing it with the RSS mentality, I think was something that went very well with the world public opinion, because they could understand it and correlate and appreciate it as such. So, when we have such a mindset which is coming out of I think brute power, just because they've won an election victory, they're a large country, they have small neighbors. So, intoxicated with power, they can make such claims. And unfortunately, Pakistan has not been able to challenge all that the Indians are claiming. I mean, like the one that you mentioned, sovereign right to annex, long awaited for the last 72 years.
Yeah.
Right? What about Junagadh, Manavadar? What about Hyderabad, Dakkan? What about
They'll
Goa?
talk from their own perspective.
What about Goa?
How many times our media has talked about Junagadh, sir? I in fact happened to meet the gentleman from Junagadh, the prince. And for many people who were sitting there, it was kind of an untold story. And everybody was surprised, okay, oh fine. And then we got to know that, you know, the land where you see this Balochistan house, this was their piece of land actually. He mentioned that to me. And he gave it to the government. I'm just giving you an example, a person who was this close, and certainly that, I mean, it was one of the richest states there, sir. It was the main port hub. I think 80% of the trade used to take place from. What I'm saying is, we never spoke about it. We never claimed it. I mean, we hardly hear about it. So isn't it true, sir? So the problem lies on our side as well.
That is what has encouraged India to get away with it. And I think if Pakistan had maintained this all along, the Indian would have been far more cautious.
So the point is that, you know, we also have a very reactive approach. The point is that once this Article 370, sir, was abrogated, and then we realized, oh, hold on, now what do we need to do? We need to do this. Send this person to this corner, Mr. X to UK, Mr. Y to France maybe. Just an SOP, sir. I remember that's exactly what happened. Before the article was abrogated, a few people went to few countries just to sort of do some lobbying. Does it work like that? No, sir. It doesn't. So there's a lot wrong on our part as well. So we never realize, we are not focusing on the true issues. Maybe after 4 years we'll be sitting here and I swear we'll forget about Kashmir. We'll be talking about the water issue, because you won't be having any water even to shower or something. This is what the problem is. Sir, I'll just get back to you. Sir, your take.
You know, when the movie
As Munir Niazi Saab said, "Hamesha der kar deta hu main." You know, that's the thing, sir.
When BJP's manifesto came for the first election, and there was a talk about revoking these articles and making it a part of the Indian territory, we didn't pay much attention to that. And even during the campaign also, we as rightly pointed out here, that it was thought it was only to win votes, etc., and we wouldn't do it in reality. But the fact is, we did do that. And I think it is a lapse on the part of our government and Foreign Office also, obviously, that we did not take cognizance of at the time. And we should have been better prepared. We needed a balanced and a very cogent response. We should have prepared for this eventuality. And you rightly said, we were caught suddenly and reacting to it till today. Also, we now say that this is the spokesperson has from the Foreign Office has said this is illegal. Or what are we going to do about the illegality? There's no mention about that, about the map I'm talking about. So there should be a legal action taken on that. Yeah. Also, even on the issue of the Kashmir, it is a legal problem. There are very clear-cut United Nations General Assembly, international laws, UN Charter, which talk about a country taking a hold of a territory, colonizing a country, which is totally illegal. But we are still not talking about going to the International Court of Justice. So there is much to be done.
Do you think this dispute should be referred to ICJ, sir?
Absolutely.
On immediate basis?
Sorry?
On immediate basis?
Immediate basis. I mean, and there have been legal experts in the, I have seen from time to time coming up on the TV talking about it, that why aren't we taking legal action? And again, for the, the violation of Geneva Conventions, of the criminal activity which is taking place there, and human rights violations are taking place, we are doing part of it. But I think the most important thing that is coming out of this action by Modi is the fact that I think the leading world leaders are coming to realize that Kashmir is not just anymore a dispute between India and Pakistan. It has now assumed importance not only geopolitical, geostrategic, but also geoeconomics also. So now here we are, when it came to Siachen, we were talking about where should be the boundary wall. And with China, where should be the boundary wall. And now they're talking about taking territories which are with China and Pakistan, huge amounts in Kashmir.
Sir, you're a diplomat. So you're a diplomat.
Yes.
Kindly explain this sentence to me, because maybe I'm unable to actually gather what exactly it means. It means, I'll just read it out. It says that the Indians have in fact put Ladakh and IOK and GB and all that.
Mirpur,
within the territorial jurisdiction of India. What is that supposed to mean, sir? Explain that to me in the diplomatic.
Well, this is when the country was, it was under the occupation, or rather it was under the British rule for a long time. And the time of when the British left, they laid out a condition.
No, that is history. What I'm saying,
sir, that is how it defines
I mean, primarily,
what area that they had.
Does it mean that they have shown some interest that this is there from their perspective, this is that if they want this portion, now they're saying that we want this part also, and technically this is now the bigger game. So that, at some stage, if we try to negotiate, at least something is settled where the current situation.
But the point is,
are they trying to build up their case on the basis of some sort of a negotiation process, sir? Because we can't take them lightly. They're very smart people.
They may have made a statement, but the fact is that this is a legally recognized dispute which has the sanctity.
Tomorrow, if they attack AJK or Gilgit-Baltistan,
yes,
and they say that, you know what, we claim it actually. See, this is our map, and this is what we want. And something happens. I'm just giving you an example, worst case scenario. Now start thinking on those lines, sir, because the intention and the capability of the enemy is very, very...
This is exactly what I meant, that if India is going to do this, with three powers here, China, India and Pakistan, three nuclear powers being in here, do you think the world would even, allow India to make any incursion from there, knowing very well where it could
Did they ask anybody before doing this?
Pakistan will not retaliate in any way, or you think China is going to sit idle if they do anything at all? Not at all. That's what I'm saying. Modi has made a mistake by doing this.
Now they have put Ladakh in a separate category, sir. That's a separate union territory. At some stage, if they say, well, okay, Chinese, hello, we're fine with you guys. Okay, you want to claim it? Take it. How many people? 300,000?
What about...
Take at least 1.5 lakh more Muslims and have 1.5 Buddhists also. It's yours. What about it then?
The point remains, whatever with China, the part of it of Kashmir, which is, Chinese side, how can they want to do away with, for example, the Karakoram highway? I mean, it goes right.
So what I'm saying is, forget about how. I mean, they're not even thinking about how.
That's what I'm saying.
They just keep on doing it.
They cannot, and are not in a capacity to do it. It is not Goa. Kashmir is not Goa. But Portugal.
Do you think now we also need to make a move in the UN?
May I just continue, please? Allow me to finish here. 80 to 90% of the armed forces of India are facing Pakistan, and they are being the Americans are backing India as a bulwark against China. Now, they couldn't even handle Pakistan when it came to Balakot. We saw that in February. And what is happening to the United States? They are pulling out from this region. They have no foothold on mainland Asia. So and at the moment, the Indians think, because of the relations that they have with America, with the relation they have, historical one with Russia, and with the growing relationship that they have, trade relationship with China, they are able to get away with this. But these are, like I said, they are deluded in thinking that nothing will happen. If they think in terms of, I mean, we have said very clearly as a part of our policy, if they are going to violate and come into the Pakistan part of the Kashmir, there will be a strong reaction. We are not going to give it.
Now,
so to think in those lines is there. But I am again, you're right to say that one should highlight this point of view.
Exactly, that's
to
the
world community.
Right. Quick comment to this point, ma'am. I mean, I really wanted to have a word about this Kartarpur issue, because the Indians are also blaming Pakistan for that. There's another story behind that also. But let's keep focusing on the Kashmir side. Now, ma'am, the options left for Pakistan, for example, Munir Akram Saab is the new person there. He's a brilliant diplomat, sir. I'm sure you all know him personally also. Munir Akram Saab, now don't you think, ma'am, his first assignment should be about this now after resuming his office?
I'm sure it would be his first assignment, but I would say that if he see that how Modi's Kashmir policy and whatever Modi is doing in response to proactive Pakistan's proactive diplomacy and international responses, Modi's policies look like that offense is the best defense. Like claiming in Pakistani administered Kashmir means that you should not talk about abrogation of 370. Let's talk about that how disputed Gilgit-Baltistan or Pakistan administered Kashmir is. So this shows that offense is the best defense. Like someone said that when Modi said, I read it somewhere, that when Modi said that nuclear weapons are not for Diwali, and someone wrote, yeah, they are for elections. And an Indian journalist wrote this, that nuclear weapons are for elections so that you can gain public sympathy and votes. So similarly, this offense is best defense is the Hindutva mindset, that instead of talking
That's
about
Doubles mindset.
yes, whatever, but
Yeah.
see the choices of people, you can see that what also reflect Modi's intention, what Modi wants. I think if India is that much insecure because of Pakistan's proactive diplomacy, we should carry it on with more
Proactive
resilience.
diplomacy, proactive.
Proactive, raising
Are you serious,
Kashmir.
ma'am? Proactive diplomacy.
Yeah, it is. See, US, again, I'm repeating myself, but US Congress, UNO, Chinese statements, German statements, UK statement, it is a big thing. Malaysia stands for Pakistan. Malaysia compromised their economic interests with India while stating their concerns on Kashmir.
They've
So
got a lot
it
of other
is
bias for
difficult.
palm oil also, ma'am. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish they
See,
produced
everyone,
more, but still, I mean,
everyone cannot be at our side. But from
ma'am,
zero
because
to
that's
this
very,
one
because
is
now
a
I'm-
huge achievement.
ma'am, you know,
As you
when
yourself said,
when
that we are reactive in nature. So
when I was in my university, one of my professors told me a very interesting thing. He said, because you just spoke about, you know, if you know your problem, this is what management tells us, if you know your problem, exactly what the problem is, half your problem is solved.
yeah,
Because you need to look
thousands
at it
years
from
back,
the other perspective. Now over here, sir,
thousands years back, Chinese strategist Sun Tzu said, know yourself, know your enemy. So this is one of the basic things when you design or formulate your policies.
he also
vis-a-vis-
said whosoever controls the Indian Ocean
no,
controls
that
the
was
world.
Mackinder. That was not
I
Sun Tzu.
mean, somebody from that side
Yeah,
actually.
that was Mackinder.
What I'm saying is that, again, you know,
Yeah.
when you talk about the narratives, I mean, there's a very...
Yeah.
Sir, a decent response, I mean, when you need to respond to something or you need to react to something. Over here, it seems that it's more of a reaction, less of a response. It should have been more of a response, less of a reaction in our case, sir.
Well, you see, we are in an environment where we have seen that the Americans have accepted Jerusalem to be part of Israel. They have placed their embassy over there. They have accepted sovereignty of Israel over the occupied Golan Heights. No one in the world has resisted or opposed or criticized or objected to it, not even the UN. And now the Israelis are probably intending to even annex the West Bank. So that is the environment.
Might is right, sir. They
That is the
plan
environment.
to go up to Iraq
So
and
there is
almost 30% of Saudi Arabia
there is
also.
no law.
Might is right, sir. The jungle law.
So
in which whatever Pakistan has achieved, that we should appreciate that
so India,
in such context.
India is pursuing the same because they have that example in front of them that Israel could get away with it. The Americans supported them, and now they.
Do you think, sir, this is all happening without the consent of the Americans? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. But at least it may not
I
be on
mean, you're claiming one nuclear state is claiming a big chunk of the territory of another nuclear country, and both are at their worst of relations at the moment, sir.
So you know what, we are trying to look for irrationality of Modi. That is why we are confused right now.
So you see, the only thing that we have over here is our Independence Act, which said that the two countries will be created on the basis of a religious divide. Muslim majority areas would go to Pakistan and Hindu majority would go. And we all know historically that the district of Gurdaspur was coming to Pakistan till the very end, and at the last moment it was handed over to India, which was against that act.
Gurdaspur, so many other areas we're talking about.
And the province of Punjab was divided. So, I mean, these are the, I think, issues that Pakistan should raise now.
And Indians divided it further, because that was one of their fault lines. But sir, last comment from you now. Interestingly, I mean, we are still stuck in that 1947 era, sir, where this is the way it should have been done. I mean, we always refer to the history, sir. But honestly speaking, sir, when we were growing up again, we were told that Pluto was a planet, and there were 9 planets in our orbit. And then later on, my son told me, no, it's not 9, there are 8. That's an asteroid. I said, oh, okay. So the point is that things are changing. Now, the next generation won't even talk about the history, sir, because the moment they'll Google it or go on to the Wikipedia, history will be it's already being distorted. So another 20, 25 years down the line, they won't even know what was right and what was wrong. I mean, this is something very serious, I would say, sir. Why ISS destroyed everything in Syria? They went after the history. That Muslims, oh, okay, another 100 years down the line, if you just remove those pictures, remove those books, what sort of light do they have? So things do get changed, sir.
Yeah, well, first, I mean, there was a comparison with the Palestinian and Israeli situation. You cannot compare the two. Of course, he's borrowing the ideas from there. But the support that the Israelis have from the United States, the financial resources that they have in the United States, the support, political support they have from the United States, and the fact that the Arab countries are totally in disarray, Saudi Arabia and other countries already recognizing them, and Egypt and making a deal, and Jordan and so forth. Unlike here, they have great problems in India. Apart from the economic situation, all the neighbors have problems with India. There is no unity against India. So you cannot compare the two together. Now, we were talking about the map. They have redrawn the map, and I think before long they will end up redrawing the map of India itself. A mention was already made. Of course, Kashmir is one that they have tried to draw, but then you have Khalistan, you have Nagaland, as you have mentioned here already, Manipur, sorry. Which was being declared independence. You have 5 other things in east of India. They are the so-called Red Corridor, which you have on the eastern side of India. So there is, these insurgencies are taking place.
So, but insurgencies can always
for independence
become successful if they have the support from within, some financial support, or maybe some sort of a support from the neighboring countries. Over here, so do you think Bhutan is going to support them, or even the country,
You know,
which is so
conviction.
close
It
to
is-
them, Bangladesh.
Conviction is
it
more
is going
important.
to, within what they have done in Kashmir, that is encourage the other states in India to start doing it. And we are, we are seeing this happening already. And with all their forces being, focused in one area, and they have not been able to succeed. I mean, despite the fact of so many years having passed, or so many days of curfews and so on, they are still facing, a great problem in Kashmir. The civil disobedience will start the moment things, and people have some normalcy has returned to the so-called normalcy, because people have opened shops because they have to live, and for the economic reasons, for a short
Multiple
period.
reasons.
and so
See,
forth.
humans,
all
I mean, it's been
colo-
92 days. I mean, that's a very long time.
Yeah, but all colonial powers looked powerful in the beginning, but it took only 100 years for their downfall. And their downfall was caused because of their own sense of empowerment and use of power for their survival and expand to enhance their power.
Well, let's see,
So,
ma'am. Let's see
history
anyway.
repeats itself.
Anyway, let's see, ma'am. Anyway, thank you very much. So it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, ma'am. And that's all we have for this hour. I'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Till then, take good care. Khuda Hafiz.
Badshai Mosque, or the Royal Mosque in Lahore, commissioned by the 6th Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in 1671 and completed in 1673, is the second largest mosque in Pakistan and South Asia and the 5th largest mosque in the world. Epitomizing the beauty, passion and grandeur of the Mughal era. It is Lahore's most famous landmark and a major tourist attraction. capable of accommodating 5,000 worshippers in its main prayer hall and a further 95,000 in its courtyard, it remains the largest mosque in the world. From 1673 to 1986, a period of 313 years, when overtaken in size by the completion of the Faisal Mosque in Islamabad. Today, it remains the second largest mosque in Pakistan and South Asia and the fifth largest mosque in the world after Masjid al-Haram, Grand Mosque of Mecca, and Al-Masjid al-Nabwi, Prophet's Mosque in Medina. The Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca and the Faisal Mosque in Islamabad. To appreciate its large size, the four minarets of the Badshah Mosque are 13.9 feet, 4.2 meters taller than those of the Taj Mahal, and the main platform of the Taj Mahal can fit inside the 278,784 square feet courtyard of the Badshah Mosque, which is the largest mosque courtyard in the world. Architectural wonders.
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to PTV World. Joining you for the top stories of this hour, I'm Ahmed Nawaz. Let's take a look at the headlines. The government launches the largest ever need-based undergraduate scholarship. Prime Minister Khan says government is replicating model of State of Medina through SAS program. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and its coalition parties develop a resolution in which they support Prime Minister Imran Khan and his government. Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa resolves that Pakistan Army as an organ of the state will continue to support national institutions as and when asked as per the Constitution. Pakistan Navy commissions a modern survey ship at a ceremony in Karachi. Naval Chief Admiral Abbasi says induction of the ship is a milestone for Pakistan Navy in the field of modern hydrography. One person killed and 15 injured in a grenade blast in SRINAGAR as India's military lockdown continues in the occupied valley. In occupied Kashmir, although India has officially declared Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh two union territories, life in the valley continues to remain paralyzed on the 92nd day. New Delhi launches a car rationing system as it battles hazardous levels of pollution. Dense blanket of smog results in chaos of traffic at Delhi airport, delaying several flights. Bangladesh women win the second and final one-day international and level the series against Pakistan in a one-wicket thriller at the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. And the second T20 of the three-match series between Pakistan and Australia will be played tomorrow at Canberra. PTV Sports will have all the action live. Those are the headlines for now, but for their details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find us on Facebook with the name of PTV World and follow us on Twitter @WorldPTV. Up next is Politics Today with Farooq Pitafi.
मिंबर तेरा अर्शे बरी या रहमत लिल आलमीन।